Hello, my name is Tadriana Rice. My Unit 4 major project. So I said before, my name is Tadriana Rice. Here's my introduction. World poverty as a complex issue affecting over 700 million people globally. Despite significant advances in technology and internal relationships, poverty persists as a stark reminder of inequality. The ethics concerning regarding poverty are numerous and involve cultural, social, and economic dynamics. This is the moral responsibility and the utilitarianism. Moral responsibility, some argue that poverty is a inevitable byproduct of economic systems, while others claim that it is a collective moral obligation to create a fairer world where basic needs like food, healthcare, and education are accessible to all. The Australian approach would evaluate the ethics responsibility of affluent nations by considering the greatest good for the greatest number. Some cross-cultural perspectives. In India has both its own poverty issues to address and the moral stake in assisting neighboring countries. India's approach emphasizes self-reliance over foreign assistance. In Africa and many African countries, there are both an urgent need for aid and a push for structural changes to address poverty more stability. The local governments often advocate for a more self-determination and less resilience in foreign aid. In the United States, the U.S. has a long history of foreign aid, but there is a debate about how much responsibility it should bear. Some foreign aid as a moral obligation, while others see it as a matter of national interest, or self-preservation. China's growth and economic power complicates its role in addressing global poverty. While it has invested heavily in foreign infrastructure, its role in direct poverty alleviation is more focused on trade and investment rather than humanitarian aid. Ethical issues too. Systematic explanation. Marx X theory suggests that capitalism perpetuates individually and the global poverty is a product of this system where the wealthy exploit the labor of the poor. Its application in ethical theory. Marxism. According to Marxist theory, poverty is not merely a result of a lack of resource, but of exploitation by capitalist systems. Marxists argue that poverty exists because of the global capitalist system extracts wealth from impoverished nations and communities. Cross-cultural perspectives. India's experience reflects a combination of traditional feudal structures and modern capitalist growth. The pretense of caste-based inequality excavates poverty for migration communities. In Africa, many African nations are still grappling with the colonial legacy where external explanation has contributed to ongoing poverty. United States. U.S. response often focuses on providing aid of charity, but critics argue this fails to address the root causes of poverty, such as global capitalist systems and benefits from inequality. China's rapid industrialization has lifted many out of poverty, but it also reflects the changes of balances. Capitalism and socialist policies aimed at reducing inequality. The third ethical issue, global justice. Traditional theories of justice are often framed within national boundaries, but world poverty changes us to think beyond these borders. The application Rawls theory of justice. Applying Rawls' idea of justice as fairness, we can argue that global poverty is unjust because it violates the basic principle of fairness. The veil of ignorance, as proposed by Rawls, suggests that if we were unaware of our national of wealth, we would want to ensure equal opportunities for everyone, particularly in terms of access to basic needs. So, cross-cultural perspectives. India advocates for equitable development moderns that prioritize self-resilience and justice within its own borders before extending its resources globally. Africa and many African nations, global justice is also seen as tied to decolonization and a rethinking of international trade practices to benefit the developing states. In the U.S., global justice is often discussed in terms of human rights and democracy promotion. The U.S. has a complex role both as a major contributor to global poverty through historical aspiration and as a provider of foreign aid. China's view of global justice is shaped by its own development model, where it has focused more on pragmatic economic growth and less on moral arguments for redistribution. I summarized the three ethical issues discussed: moral obligation, systematic equality, and global justice. Cross-cultural reflection. I reflected on how different cultures approach the issue of poverty. While Western nations may focus on charity and aid, other regions like China and Africa may advocate for structural changes to economic systems or prioritize self-reliance. Call to action. I encourage the viewers to think about how they can contribute to reducing global poverty, both personally and as a part of larger collective efforts. Here's my cited works, and thank you for watching.